All of Ontario is under a stay-at-home order to help combat this pandemic. For tenants and landlords, that makes the stakes in disputes, both new and ongoing, higher than ever. Mary Baxter covers the southwestern part of the province for Ontario Hubs. She's been looking at how those disagreements are being resolved amid COVID and joins us now from London. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jayanne. It's good to be here.
Now, enforcement on eviction orders have halted for now, but hearings are still going on. How has Ontario's board that adjudicates the disputes between tenants and landlords sort of shifted and kind of pivoted during the pandemic?
Well, pre-pandemic, the landlord and tenant board would hear cases. The adjudicator would hear cases in person. So that meant actually traveling to a specific area and hearing a whole batch of cases during a day or a couple of days of hearings. Of course, we had the pandemic. We had social distancing, and that became quite unsafe to do. So first off, the board was suspended for a while as we were all ordered to basically stay home. And then it came back with a digital presence. So that means just like you might contact somebody on Zoom, that's how you would actually hear your hearing is via video conference, or you could call in and in special cases, perhaps even write in.
Why did the landlord and tenant board find it so important to keep these hearings going?
Well, they weren't going for quite a while. So, as they weren't going, during that time as well, there was a moratorium on evictions, but that was all lifted at the beginning of August, which meant that there was a whole backlog of cases to be heard, plus the cases that were scheduled when everything was suspended. So, they wanted to find a way to be able to deal with the backlog in an efficient manner, but they also wanted something that they felt might be accessible, and those are basically the reasons why.
Now, you spoke to Shauna Moorhead rather, of the Grey Bruce Community Legal Clinic about some of the challenges with virtual hearing. Let's have a look at what she had to say.
We have many concerns when the landlord and tenant board moved to digital hearings. Our main concern, though, is around access to justice. When they move to digital hearings, they require a tenant to have access to the internet, a computer, and the knowledge to know how to use it to access their hearing. Now, there is a telephone option for tenants to call in as well. However, we still have concerns as many tenants may not have adequate time on their cell phone. They may have very poor signal of where they're living, especially in rural and remote areas. And many tenants don't even have a cell phone to call in.
Now, for your article on tvo.org, you also spoke to some tenants. How are they dealing with some of those specific challenges?
One of the tenants that I spoke to was Ashton Kearney, who was living in Walkerton, and she was notified of her hearing via email. It was in November, and it was in plenty of time. But as Ashton says, it was really lucky that first off she had email. And secondly, that she regularly checks her email, because the notice actually said that there would be a notice via paper that would be mailed out to her, but it actually didn't arrive until the deadline for filing the evidence for her case had passed. And it came in a manila envelope that, she thought was maybe like an Amazon package. There just wasn't enough information to distinguish what it was. So from there, she got to her hearing, and she actually did manage to file her evidence. And when I'm talking about evidence, I'm talking about things like photographs of how the apartment was being maintained or not being maintained, any receipts of expenses that she shouldered that maybe she felt that the landlord should have shouldered, that sort of thing. So she gathered all this into a package. She had to digitize everything, make sure it was digitized and get it filed. filed for the adjudicator. Rolls around to the day of the hearing, and she's there, as are a number of people, to wait and hear their cases. And she discovers that the adjudicator never received her documents. So then there was this scramble to try to refile them with the adjudicator. She couldn't get them, so then her lawyer had to do it, and then the adjudicator had to take time to be able to review the documents. And on top of that, it pushed her back in the hearing file, so she had to wait while she heard other people's cases unfold.
What I'm hearing is a lot of frustration. I understand that you actually spoke to a lawyer who shared some of those stories. One that kind of talked about Shauna's example of, people not having access to the internet, but do have access to the phones, but that's necessarily not the easiest.
Yes, I spoke to Jamie Hildebrand. He's the executive director of the Huron-Perth Community Legal Clinic. And he was telling me about one of his clients who had to use a payphone because that client didn't have access even to a landline. So had to walk into town, use the payphone. The day that this happened, it was really cold and it started to rain. And Jamie says that he could actually hear this fellow's teeth chattering in the call. And they were waiting and waiting for the hearing to come up. And finally, the fellow just said, I can't stand this. And he hung up.
I want to bring in another clip of Shauna Moorhead. This is where she's talking about solutions. Let's have a look at that.
I believe it's incumbent upon the Ontario government and the Tribunals Ontario to provide the access to justice for tenants and even small landlords and other landlords to access their hearing. So to provide the technology, such as a hearing site where tenants can go to, so they can use a computer with reliable internet, be able to fully participate in the video hearing, and then to have someone there to help deal with any kind of technology challenges that may come up in terms of during that hearing. Such as trying to submit documents during the hearing, and to make sure that their side of the story is fully heard and they feel that justice is being done by our justice system.
You highlight a number of the challenges with these virtual hearings, so it's no surprise that there's been a lot of no-shows. Are there any implications for those tenants going forward? Are there any penalties if they aren't able to make them?
Well, consider that for many tenants, when it reaches this kind of stage, the other circumstances that they may be in, they can't pay their rent because they simply don't have the money. So where do they go from there? They can go to the street. They can go to a shelter. Maybe they can find, a place to stay with a friend or someone that they know. But then on top of that, landlords, there are websites that provide landlords the ability to be able to list bad tenants. So for these people, if they start to get on their feet, the challenge also becomes, how can they rent from someone else when everybody knows that they had this experience where they didn't pay rent?
It's very, very interesting. Of course, a story that we will continue to cover. Mary Baxter, I want to thank you so much. That's Mary Baxter, Ontario Hub journalist covering Southwestern Ontario. Thank you.
Thanks, Jan.
The Agenda with Steve Paikin is brought to you by the Chartered Professional Accountants of Ontario. CPA Ontario is a regulator, an educator, a thought leader, and an advocate. We protect the public. We advance our profession. We guide our CPAs. We are CPA Ontario. And by viewers like you. Thank you.